Sudden Season. Welcome to the very beginning of our deep dive into the lore of Asheron's Call. Today we explore the Sudden Season update from December of 1999, the very first update after the retail launch of the game. If you're new to Asheron's Call lore, check out my previous video, Heeding the Call, for a quick introductory overview to the world. Now, let's dive into the role-playing letter that set the stage for this month's events and helped make Asheron's Call something unique. Shortly before the events of Sudden Season. Atop a hill overlooking Zaikhal, Asina al-Archis placed a crystal apparatus on the ground, aligning it to the setting sun. The light caught within its faucets, held, and the delicate mechanism began to gently spin. She frowned and tapped the base of the device. Over the past 3 days, the portents had been clear. Portal runners from Hebian Toe and Cragstone confirmed it. The temperature was slowly, steadily falling, and showed no signs of stopping. To begin, we see Asina al-Archis using a crystal apparatus to monitor the falling temperatures on the island. The signs appear clear, and the confirmation from portal runners adds a sense of widespread concern. These are just the beginnings of dramatic changes to come. A couple of weeks later, atop the dune, under the feeble sunset light, Asina al-Archis hugged her thick cloak around her, blew into her hands, and bent and replaced the gem at the apex of her sensing apparatus. Sunlight glinted from the facets, sank within, then struck a violent spark at the center. With a crack, the light winked out. The supporting wires loosed their hold, and suddenly the gray stone fell beside the last two she'd tested. She could not calibrate the equipment any finer, but she knew enough. A week, perhaps, probably less, and even the desert would freeze. It was time to give a final report to the council. In this passage, we find that Asina's struggle against the cold and the failure of her device to provide more precise readings underscore the severity of the situation the researchers are facing. The urgency is palpable as she realizes the desert will soon freeze and decides to report to the council immediately. 5 days later. Murmurs and coughs faded from the council chamber as the 4-foot column of enchanted ice drained candlelight from the room. "Here is yet another image," said Asina al-Archis to the assembly. "This is what the shard foresees for Qualibar." The stolen light resolved into a view of the familiar desert town, but it could hardly be recognized. Snow was in the air and lay thick on the ground. "It is time to prepare. Mark me. Tomorrow, the view outside your own windows will be very much the same." In the council chamber, the visualization of Qualibar under the snow highlights the dramatic and unprecedented nature of the changes. Asina's call to action emphasizes the immediacy of the threat and the need for preparation. With the stage set by Asina al-Archis' observations and the council's response, let's delve into the key elements and changes that the Sudden Season update brought to the world of Asheron's Call. As mentioned previously, here we can begin to see some of the aspects that make Asheron's Call unique, as the sudden drop in temperature wasn't just a narrative device. It had real implications for the game world and its inhabitants. In the month known as Frostfell, the Isle of Dereth was beset by a sudden freeze. As mages scrambled to explain the dropping temperatures, the snow line dipped down from the lofty peaks of the Lost Wish and the Linvac mountain ranges, until the entire island was coated with several inches of snow. Even the Garundum, deep in the hot and barren Amun Desert, awoke one morn to find their stately brick courtyards blanketed with white. In Samsur, the fountain of Masanyan froze solid. Somewhere in the wastes, the exploration party of Sir Joffrey Trembrant fell afoul of the dark forces. The legendary knight of the Golden Flame Order had gone in search of a fabled lost city alluded to in certain Empyrean texts. At first, his party was presumed lost in the blinding snows. Intrepid bands followed his meandering path from Arwick to Stonehold, gathering clues to his final destination. Along the way, many assisted the aims of Lady Talali in Nidissa Castle, or those of her rival MacDougal in the Bandit Castle. Others grappled with hoary maticors, ferocious mountain creatures the size of a house. The hides of these creatures, when given to the skilled tradesmen of Dereth, were quickly turned into fine maticor robes. With the assistance of the scholars of Zaikhal, the search parties discovered the path to the mysterious underground city of Frore. Here, the fate of the Tremblant party stood revealed. The group had been slain and then turned into undead slaves by an ancient cult of Empyrean necromancers calling themselves the Gelidites. In the depths of the frozen hell of Frore, adventurers struggled through legions of undead sorcerers, who were led by a council of 3 dark priests. These 3, Farundi, Frisander, and Fengar by name, were slain at the gates of the city. In the deepest caverns, parties were brought up short by a cadre of Gelidite lords, led by the powerful sorcerer Frisrith. The Gelidite necromancer controlled Sir Tremblant, who pleaded for death even as he was magically forced to defend his evil master. When Tremblant was released from his misery and Frisrith defeated, the parties confronted a greater mystery, a large, rotating crystal the Gelidites had called the Great Work. This magical artifact had been discovered by Frisrith centuries before. Under the enchantments of the Gelidites, the Great Work sucked the heat from the earth, causing the snows that carpeted Dereth. When the explorers rushed to destroy it, the crystal defended itself with powerful magics. Many were slain, but in the end, the Asparians prevailed. Abram of Morningthaw chronicled the final battle against the work in his tale, Return to Frore, which became a bestseller at the capital towns of Cragstone, Hebian II, and Zaikhal. With the great work shattered, warmth began to seep back into the land. The exhausted and battered adventurers returned to their homes to enjoy the blessings of the solstice, festival of lights, and night feast holidays. During the celebration, new culinary delights had been invented to delight the palate. Kokori of Thistledown made carrot cake. Danny the Crazed of Leafcoal introduced famous pizza. Razagal and Tassadar of Morningthaw created hot kimchi. And Fire Demon of Thistledown baked the first spiced apple pie. Borton of Frostfell created fruitcake, but he has since been forgiven and is occasionally allowed back into town. The remnants of the Gelidite cult were left in sorrow, their great hopes dashed. Departing adventurers even seized their ancient scriptures as spoils of war. Our Great Work, a memoir written by Farundi, was given to the scholars of Hebian II, and the ancient Book of Minesh, a history of the Gelidite cult, was seized by the Zaikhal Arcanum. This detailed account provides a comprehensive overview of the sudden season events, from the initial freeze to the discovery of the lost city named Frore and the defeat of the Gelidites. The narrative highlights the bravery of the adventurers and the impact of their actions on the world of Dereth. The inclusion of culinary delights and holiday celebrations adds a touch of warmth and humanity to the story, contrasting with the cold and dark events of the sudden season. In addition, it explicitly allows direct player impact and agency into the game world, something Asherons call developers strongly strive for and focus on in their public statements. Any given adventurer could choose to log on and follow the trail of crumbs that leads to the discovery of Frore in order to challenge the Great Work for themselves. Further, there are more texts and detailed accounts that relate to the goings-on of Sudden Season, which can be found within the game world. These texts explain in further detail the happenings related to the Great Work Crystal, as well as some historical context for the Gelidites, who both discovered Frore and currently occupy it, as well as the original constructors. For the moment, we'll take the brief route, but perhaps we will further explore some of these stories in detail with future videos, depending on the reception and viewer interest. To begin, we'll speak of those who originally constructed Frore, the ancient Dericost. These were a powerful group of Empyreans, originally from the continent of LBRY, known for their darker, necromantic practices and their pursuit of power and immortality. The Dericost had an explicit lack of moral and ethical boundaries, which set them apart from other Empyrean groups. They even went as far as utilizing necromantic magic to turn themselves into undead to achieve a form of immortality. As a result of a conflict on Oberon, known as the Millennium War, the Dericost were driven from their homeland, and some of them, including the sub-faction known as the Gelidites, fled the Oberon continent and arrived on Dereth. It should be noted that the sub-faction of the Dericost known as the Gelidites are specifically focused on prophecy. During their wandering and effective exile on Dereth, some of these Gelidite Dericosts became infatuated with prophecies as a means to mend their current situation. Within their culture were tales of a great frost that came in cycles, a powerful ally for those who allied with the undead. It was foretold that the next great cycle would begin in a Dericost city named Frore, but no such city yet existed. Thus, they decided to create this city. Despite the dangers of meddling in prophecy, the Dericost spent much time and effort securing an isolated and protected location to begin construction on their prophesied city of Frore and what would be termed the Great Work, aimed at bringing about a long-lasting frost to the land of Dereth. However, the Great Work faced numerous challenges, and Frore was eventually abandoned. When other unrelated tribes of Gelidites later found Frore, they discovered only remnants of the Great Work and attempted to revive it over the centuries after the discovery. During their efforts, they uncovered ancient texts and artifacts that detailed the original intentions and struggles of the Dericost. One such text can be found in-game. Our Great Work describes the initial excavations and the discovery of a powerful crystal. This crystal, believed to have a magical connection to the deep earth, was intended to draw the heat from the planet's core to bring about the prophesied Great Frost. The text also mentions the involvement of acolyte Frore, who used ancient magics to shape the tunnels and further the Great Work. Despite their efforts, the Gelidites faced numerous setbacks, including internal conflicts and the eventual loss of key knowledge and resources. Ultimately, however, their attempts to revive the Great Work failed when adventurers discovered the frozen city and destroyed the remnants of the Great Work, putting an end to the Gelidites' ambition, despite the activation of the crystal. The failure of the Great Work appeared to mark the end of the Gelidites' grand prophecy. Despite their extensive efforts and the powerful magics they wielded, the challenges they faced proved insurmountable in the end. The discovery and destruction of Frore by adventurers not only halted their plans, but also left a lasting legacy of their ambitions and the potential dangers of meddling with prophecy. The tale of Frore and the Great Work is a testament to the rich and intricate lore of Asheron's Call. From the ambitious and morally ambiguous Dericost to the determined Gelidites, the story of Frore is one of prophecy, power, and ultimately failure. The adventurer's role in uncovering and dismantling the Great Work highlights the game's unique emphasis on player agency and impact. As we've seen, the legacy of the Gelidites and their Great Work left a permanent mark on the world of Dereth. The frozen ruins of Frore stand as a reminder of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the unpredictable nature of prophecy. Interestingly, the Great Work crystal was not just a powerful artifact, but does in fact have a deeper, more mysterious connection to an ancient and dark forces within Dereth. This connection hints at greater powers at play, suggesting that the Gelidites' ambitions might have been influenced by forces beyond their understanding. While the Great Work was ultimately destroyed, the remnants of this grand endeavor continued to influence the world, leaving behind mysteries to be uncovered. The destruction of the crystal may have had unforeseen consequences, foreshadowing the potential for future conflicts and challenges for the adventurers of Dereth. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the lore of Asheron's Call's first major update, Sudden Season. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history of Frore and the Gelidites, please take a moment to like this video and leave a comment with your thoughts or questions about this bit of AC lore. As always, subscribing to the channel helps me understand more directly what kind of content resonates with you as a viewer, so that and sharing this video are the most powerful ways to tell me that you love it. Your feedback will help shape future videos, and we shall certainly be exploring more of these fascinating stories together in the next video, in which we will detail the Dark Thaw monthly update of January 2000. Until next time, adventurers, stay curious, and perhaps one day we shall meet in the world of Dereth.